Hello and welcome to episode 22 of my photography, Lightroom and Photoshop tips. Last week it was the last episode on time-lapse photography and I showed you how to do this time-lapse that you can see here. It was the most difficult out of the 4 courses I did on the subject, but if you really want to get into time-lapse, I advise you to check it out. This week we're going to do what I call a happy accident. I was in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago and I took a long exposure shot of the Santa Monica Pier, and I kind of didn't like the result because I lost a lot of colors. I like the silky water as you can see here, but I didn't like the colors. And thanks to Lightroom 4, here is what I've done with it, only using Lightroom 4 tools. So let me show you how we do this. Okay guys, so an interesting tutorial for this week. This is a photo I shot in Los Angeles on the Santa Monica Pier. It's a long exposure photo. If I press the I button on Lightroom, let me press the I button. It's a 20-second exposure at 5.6 ISO 100. Now the reason I did a long exposure is I don't like when the water has a lot of texture. I like the silky look of the water, so that was the only reason why I did that. It was a sunrise. I took this really early in the morning, and the interesting part of that photo is, it had great colors, but the ND filter that I use loses a lot of the colors. So we are going to get the sunrise color back into the photo, but we're going to cheat. We're going to make it if it was like an exceptional sunrise. That's what life is about, creating art. So here we go. So I'm going to start by my usual formula, which is to open up the shadows, just to get the dark area opened up. I'm going to turn down the highlights to make the highlights come down. Then I'm going to go with the whites, press the Option key and go right until I see some white pixels, meaning this, oh, okay, now that's too much. I'm going to back it down a little bit, okay? Just before the white pixels appears, these are pixels which are 100% white, and you only see that if you press the Option key. So that's cool. And I'm going to back down the blacks until I see. Now my formula on the blacks is I usually go until I see some kind of blacks, like really some. Okay, something like that. I go further with the blacks than I go with the whites. Okay, so now we have established some sort of contrast, but the colors, I don't like the colors at all. Now, for sunrise and for sunset, as the basic temperature, I usually go for shade. Why? Because shade is pretty warm and I kind of like that. However, I want to make a contrast between the sky and the water. I want to make this a bit more blue. So, first thing first, I'm going to use the crop tool, use this little tool, the angle tool, and just click and drag on my horizontal line to make sure my photo is straight. I'm gonna bring this down and bring this up. I want about 1/3 of water and 2/3 of clouds, just for composition's sake. I kind of like that, yeah, and make it look a bit more panoramic. So I'm kind of happy with that. Okay, now I'm gonna go into the filter, the ND filter. And I'm going to press the Option key to reset everything. And I'm going to make a filter here on the top on the sky. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make the sky more blue. I'm going to go about -22 on the sky. Okay. And then I'm going to create another filter for the water. And I'm going to make this one warm. I'm going to make this one so you've got a color for the sky and a color for the water. And the water, I'm going to go really warm, like +50 on the yellows and about 17 on the magenta, something like that. Yeah, 17, 18. So make this really warmer, okay? So that's the first step. Then I'm going to add a bit of contrast overall, okay? And I'm going to change the calibration of that photo from Adobe Standard to Camera Landscapes. Yeah, I like landscape because it makes things a bit more saturated and a bit warmer. It doesn't work on all landscape. On this one I kind of find that it works fine. Now we're going to do the major trick. This is just the beginning. We're going to use the brush, the magic brush. I'm going to make this brush very big. And I'm going to warm it up really much. I'm going to go like 55 on the yellows and 58 on the magenta. This is going to be really a red brush. And now I'm gonna make this big, and I'm gonna paint. I'm gonna make the whole middle of the photo very warm. Very, very warm. Okay? Because I want the sun to come back. Now, additionally, to make it warm, I'm gonna make the exposure go down a bit. Not only is it gonna warmer, but it's gonna saturate even more. Okay? So you've got a warm sea with a warm sky. Maybe even adds a bit of reddish. I just want really this to be really warm. And because that's how it looked, there was this yellow line, you know, and the fact that I shoot the ND filter, it took all the colors out. So I'm trying to get the colors back, okay? So yeah, it's a bit extreme, but that's really how the scene was. I mean, I'm maybe cheating a little bit, I mean, you know, I don't remember. This is how it felt to me. I'm gonna add some vibrance to make it more crazy. I love crazy sunrise and crazy sunsets, but that's just me. You know, some people hate it, they like black and white. I like colors, very colorful. And then I'm gonna do a little post-crop V-knitting. Okay, and that's gonna give me the basics of that photo, you know, and so that's pretty much it. Maybe I'm gonna do just a little bit of dodge and burn on it just to make it a bit more interesting. So I'm gonna open up again the brush, click on new. This time I'm gonna press the Alt key to reset everything. I'm just gonna boost the exposure, and I'm gonna make a little bit of white here maybe, and a little bit of white there, just to make, you know, interesting lights. Then, okay, let's see if we can make the sky even more interesting with a new brush. Now this is a nice trick for the sky. You can make the exposure go a bit to the right, and then you can also get the flow and the density about 2/3. And now, check this out, I'm gonna paint some white on some part of the sky just to make it a bit more dramatic, to get it even more, you know, looking extreme, like if it was really dramatic. And it was dramatic, but you know, the fact that I lone exposured it, I got the silky water, but I lost a lot. I lost a lot of details in the sky, you know, and I lost all the colors. So I'm just trying to get everything back. Okay, so I'm just painting here and there, you know, a bit of white, but you don't see the strokes because I've got the flow at 62 and the density at 66. So check this out. Maybe boost some clarity to make it even more interesting. And here we go. I press the Y key so we see the before and after. Oh no, because I've already worked on this photo, so it doesn't want to show me the before and after. And I've got a French keyboard, so I have to use you can just press the backslash key if you have an English keyboard, but me, I've got a French keyboard, so I've got to show you the history. So that's here we are. That's before, ooh, and that's after. So mainly working with brushes and filters to get, you know, the colors back. So we have the best of both worlds. We've got the silky water and we've got the colors back. So I hope you like that. Okay, now if you go over to my website photoserge.com and you click on the App Store, here you can purchase 2 hours course where I show you this type of things. My latest course is on panorama, but if you like this type of courses, I advise you to purchase the whole Lightroom 4 training. You get Lightroom 4 retouching and Lightroom 4 travel retouching, which is only basically what I've just done from A to Z, about 12 photos from start to end. So you get really from different lighting, examples of retouching. And Lightroom Quick Start is just like how to learn Lightroom 4 in less than 2 hours. Okay, that's the whole idea. And last but not least, if you want to see some more of this podcast, you can just click here on the podcast menu on my website. And not only you get all the past episodes for free, but you can also purchase, if you want, the raw files being used in each of the podcasts to create the same photo at home and print it if you like. But please do not use it for commercial purposes. Thank you very much, and let's get back to the studio. Okay guys, so I hope you liked that tutorial. This week's inspiration is, I would say, a student that I had, which I love his work, and he got really better than me on a lot of things. His name is Romain Sauze. He's a French photographer, and here is his Flickr page. Check out his work. I think it's really inspiring. Okay, see you next week for a new episode. Thank you.